welcome to Vlogmas! It's time for everyone's favorite part of the year, the NBA season predictions. Can you tell that I'm very happy today? I just am. I don't know why, but it's a good day. Every day is a good day, but today, I don't know, in particular, I'm just extra happy. So this video is going to be extra great. So today, I'm going to give you my predictions on the Western Conference rankings. Okay, let's get right into it, shall we? So let's start from the bottom up, and I think that the 8th seed will end up being the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, to be honest, I think the Portland Trail Blazers had one of the best off seasons out of, all the teams in the league. Now, relax. I didn't say they had the most amazing off season ever, but they did have a really good one. They picked up pieces that they needed. They got Robert Covington and Derrick Jones Jr. They also re-signed Melo and Rodney Hood. Robert Covington was a great pickup for the Blazers. He's a nice 3-and-D guy. We saw what he did on Houston. He can knock down shots. He's going to help the team and impact them in a positive way. And it's great because now they are very deep at the small forward position. Like I said, Robert Covington. Then you got Derrick Jones Jr., as I mentioned a minute ago. He can jump out of the gym. His athleticism is nuts, and he impacts the game. I really liked him when he was in Miami. You still got Melo, who we all love Melo. And listen, Melo was big time for them last year. All the people who were doubting Melo, like I said, he showed y'all, and he has still a lot of game left in him, and he can put up big numbers still at times. So I think that they did get better. I think that Dame is going to do Dame things. He's going to be himself. They have a full year of Nurkic being healthy, so that'll definitely help them. I just think that the West is still really stacked, and it's going to be kind of hard to move up. Now, that's not to say that they can't be higher up in the Western Conference. They definitely could, but like I said, it's stacked. It's going to be tough. Number 7, we're talking about the Houston Rockets here. I know, the Houston Rockets falling so much in the standings, and they still have James Harden. Why? Well, the thing is, we don't know what's happening with James Harden. Is he going to get traded, Ben Simmons, or somewhere else? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. So it's really hard to place the Rockets somewhere in the standings. I just think there's a lot going on internally that even if Harden is still there, there's a lot of chemistry that needs to be worked on, and they have a lot of new pieces, which I do like their new pieces, don't get me wrong. It's just going to be difficult to, be a cohesive unit. Harden might start the season and play some of the games, and then by the trade deadline, maybe he'll be gone, maybe not. It's just a lot of, what ifs. But I really like the pickup of Christian Wood. I think he's very underrated. I think that he's going to have a breakout year, which he kind of did last year, as I said in one of my previous videos. But I think you're going to see it more now that he's on a Rockets and stuff like that. And then we hope to see Boogie have a nice, healthy season because we all root for that. And John Wall in preseason has looked very quick, very athletic. He doesn't look like he's missed a beat. So overall, I do think that they still have a quality team. There's just so much going on that we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if James Harden is still there, we don't even know if that's still going to work out. Is there going to be some kind of locker room issues? Chemistry is a big part to winning games. So that's why overall, I think they end up 7th. Number 6, the Dallas Mavericks. Now, a lot of people have been predicting that the Mavericks are going to finish top 3, something like that in the West. However, I think they're going to fall a bit lower. Now, the reason for this is not because of Luka, because Luka is a walking triple-double. He's magical on the court. He puts up great stats, and it equates to wins. I think he can carry the team, but only for so much. What I mean by that is Porzingis is going to miss the start of the season with his knee injury, and Porzingis tends to have a lot of, reoccurring injuries in his leg. Now, we only wish health upon him, of course. I'm hoping that Porzingis is healthy, but we don't know what his health is going to be. They haven't really released much information on it. So therefore, is it going to be a thing where Porzingis, isn't there to start the season and then he comes back, but then it's lingering soreness and he's out and in and out of the lineup? That's really the biggest question for me, is Porzingis' health. And if he's not healthy, I do think that the Mavericks can still make the playoffs. I just think that it's not going to be a top 3 seed in the West. And so therefore, I think that they're not going to be as high as people are projecting. But Luka's still going to do his thing. And we may see Luka average a triple-double, honestly. For number 5, we have the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz kind of stayed pat. They didn't really do much this offseason. I mean, they brought back Derek Favors, which I was happy about because I liked Derek Favors' game. And I liked him when he was on Utah, so now I'm glad he's back. Overall, like I said, they're pretty much the same, though. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, and Mike Conley. And Bogdanovich, I didn't forget about Bogdanovich, him too. So the reason I think they stay in a similar spot is because they kind of stayed the same. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to do his thing. He's going to take a little step forward, of course, and get a little bit better on the offensive and defensive end. The Utah Jazz are always a good defensive team, so I don't doubt that they'll still be high in defensive rankings. I just think, like I said, the West has so much talent going on, and also keep in mind, for every team this applies, but the shortened season and just all these what ifs surrounding the games and the seasons and everything that's going to happen, it may help or hurt some teams, so we don't know which ones it's going to be yet. Just keep that in mind when you're considering predictions or just teams in general. We don't really know what's going to happen. However, it's going to be interesting to see Mike Conley and how he plays this year, because last year, you know, he's getting acclimated to the Utah Jazz system and he started off a little bit slow and then he definitely picked it up as time went on. However, maybe now that he's comfortable, he'll play more consistently better. He won't start off slow. And therefore, maybe that'll push the Jazz up, because Mike Conley is a great player. Mike Conley is just one of those guys who doesn't get talked about a lot, but he does everything you need him to do, and he's definitely someone you want on your team. So on to number 4, that would be the Golden State Warriors. There are so many different opinions on where the Warriors are going to end up this season. I've heard people say they're not even going to make the playoffs, they're not going to be close. I've heard people say that they're going to fight for the 7th and 8th seed, and I've heard people rank them at 4 or 5, like me. There really is no clear-cut answer, but for me, I think it's 4. And the reason for this is Steph is going to return to MVP level Steph. I mean, I don't know if you were watching the preseason games, but Steph dropped 29 and 29 the last 2 games. And it wasn't like 29 on like 40 shots. Like, Steph looks in rhythm. He looks good. And he's still running around the court, moving the ball. They're doing what they usually do. And let me just point out that Kelly Oubre has looked very solid in the preseason games as well. I could see him having a huge impact on the team on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I just think the culture that they have there is so infectious. And I've said this many, many times, but there are certain teams where you go to and the culture just embodies everybody. Those are places like Miami, the Spurs, the Warriors. They just have something there. The foundation is so solid that people just adapt and enjoy it. And let's also not forget, we haven't seen anything from James Wiseman yet, who's supposed to be something special, and he's my pick for Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to average a double-double. So you got him, plus Draymond Green. We know how special he is on defense and his passing gift. So therefore, I just think that they have enough talent surrounding them that they can finish as the 4 seed. Okay, number 3, this is the Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets didn't do much this offseason except they lost Jeremy Grant, who I think is a big loss. Now, it can be looked at as 2 ways. I think it's a big loss because Jeremy Grant, like if you saw his impact in the playoffs, you saw how valuable he was to them, and he clearly made them better. However, if we look at it from another standpoint, by him being gone, Michael Porter Jr. will get more minutes. And let's remember that he didn't get that many minutes last year because he was easing into the rotation and stuff like that. And now that we saw him break out in the playoffs, he's going to get the minutes he deserves. So those minutes that Jeremy Grant had, I think will mostly go to Michael Porter Jr., but I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to come into his own and show people why he was supposed to be a super high draft pick, and the injuries, although they happened, he's now here to play and play at a high level. They also lost Torrey Craig, who is someone that I actually really like on the defensive side of the ball. I thought he gave them a nice edge, but similar to Michael Porter Jr., Bull might be getting some more minutes, and we haven't seen much from him either. So it's going to be very interesting because he's supposed to be something as well. So like I said, they're pretty much the same. You got Murray, you got Jokic, they re-signed Millsap, you know, 1 year of more experience. I just think they finished as the 3rd seed. Number 2, the Clippers. Now the Clippers did lose Montrezl Harrell. Of course, he was the reigning 6th man of the year. I understand his bubble play was very polarizing, you know, whatever. But the point is, during the regular season, he was 6th man of the year. However, picking up Serge Ibaka in his place is not a bad pickup. I like Serge Ibaka's game a lot. I think Serge Ibaka plays hard, and there's a reason he got the nickname Serge Ibaka. Now, maybe he's not blocking shots at the Eclipse as he was at one point in his career, but he's still a force on the defensive side of the ball, and he could shoot the 3. They also re-signed Marcus Morris, who actually had a lot of big games for them in the playoffs. I really like the pickup of Luke Kennard, though. Don't sleep on that, because Luke Kennard was great in Detroit. I've talked about it before. He's a really good shooter. I like his game, and I think he has a lot more to show. Now, the question, of course, that comes into place is load management, and how much of it and where will it set them back? That's going to be kind of the question with my number 1 seed, which I'm sure you can figure out who it is at this point. But load management is really one of the key questions to this team, the number 1 seed, and a lot of teams. I do think that Kawhi and Paul George will probably load manage, but I don't think they're going to load manage as much as you think. Like I said, I do think it's going to happen, but I think that they do also have something to prove a little bit. So I do see them playing a little bit more than expected. Now, we all know the drama surrounding the Clippers right now and everything that's going on, but I think they have enough talent. You still have Kawhi, Paul George, and I just think that there'll be enough to get them to the number 2 seed. And now we are on to the number 1 seed. If you couldn't figure it out already, it is the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, to be completely honest, I've had a really tough time picking the standings for the West, and especially the top 2 seeds. And that's because, like I said, there are so many questions, and load management for the Lakers is one of the biggest questions for me. I 100% think that the Lakers are going to load manage. I do think LeBron's going to play around 60 games. I think they're going to load manage Anthony Davis. They're going to want to keep him healthy as well. So depending on how many games they load manage, that could drop them to like the 4th or 5th seed or whatever, because They're not focused on the number 1 seed, they're focused on the playoffs and health. Especially with a shortened season already, there's less games to go around. So I understand they may not be focused on getting the number 1 seed as much as they were last year, and therefore that's definitely a possibility as to why they may not finish as the number 1 seed. So that's why I've been struggling, because I'm like, maybe they will finish as the 3 seed just because of that. But however, I just think that they have enough talent that they'll finish as the 1. LeBron is just so talented, and so is Anthony Davis. I think that they have such good chemistry that also contributes to how many wins they get. Them two together, but also the team as a whole, even though they have new pieces, they look like they have chemistry already. Kuzma has been playing a lot better in preseason. We saw what KCP did in the playoffs last year, and hopefully he'll continue on that route. And then THG, hello, good morning to him. Now, I don't expect THG to drop, 30 points in a game. I really don't. However, he might get some rotational minutes and be a nice spark off the bench. Dennis Schroeder was a candidate for 6th Man of the Year last year, and I thought that he personally was 6th Man of the Year. So he could be someone who can generate more offense and more playmaking for them as well. And then Marc Gasol, although he's past his prime, he still spaces the floor very nicely, and he's still a very good passer. I just think overall the chemistry, the talent, and just how the season is going to end up, I think that they do end up finishing as the number 1 seed. There you have it. Those are my Western Conference standing season predictions. Stay tuned for the Eastern Conference predictions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye.